Let's get started with our main story today. Reactions are pouring in after UFC Kansas City wrapped up last night. It was an action-packed card from start to finish, and the buzz is still electric across the MMA community. What did you think of the card overall? Were you impressed? Did any fighters stand out? Let us know in the comments. We love hearing from you. And hey, before we dive deeper, make sure to leave a like on this video to help support the channel. It really does make a huge difference and allows us to keep bringing you the best daily MMA updates. Alright, now let's jump in. We have to start with the main event, the highly anticipated matchup between Ian Garry and Carlos Prates. In what many are calling a tactical and gutsy performance, Ian Garry managed to defeat Prates via unanimous decision after 5 intense rounds of non-stop action. It wasn't a smooth ride though. Prates had some huge moments, especially in the final round, where it looked like he was just inches away from finishing Garry. Ian was seriously rocked and vulnerable, but he somehow weathered the storm, stayed composed, and made it to the final bell. After securing the win, Ian Garry grabbed the mic and dropped some major news. He's officially been named the backup fighter for the upcoming welterweight title fight between Belal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 315. That's a massive step for Garry and a clear sign he's rising fast in the stacked welterweight division. But enough from us. Let's get into how the MMA community is reacting. First up, none other than Conor McGregor himself weighed in, keeping it short and sweet with, "Great fight. When McGregor gives you props, you know you're doing something right." Next, Full Send MMA had a playful but critical reaction. They posted a clip titled, "Walking Buckley reacts to Ian Machado Garry vs. Carlos Prates," where they said, "Ian, stop messing up. You're making mistakes. You're going to get knocked out. We need Buck versus Garry for our first pay-per-view. Don't mess it up, man." Clearly they're rooting for a Buckley versus Garry showdown. Belal Muhammad, who of course now has a vested interest in Garry's path, also chimed in. He joked, "Prates still got gas in the tank. Maybe the cigarettes aren't bad," taking a playful jab at the rumors about Prates being a smoker. Belal added simply, "Great fight." And honestly, a lot of fans felt the same way. It really looked like Garry was on the brink of defeat there. Lightweight prospect Terrence McKinney also chimed in saying, "Good win by Garry, but don't get hit by Prates. Bros got heavy. Hands in every position. That was wild at the end." McKinney's right. Prates showed scary power even late in the fight. Meanwhile, veteran middleweight Derek Brunson weighed in with a classic Brunson quip. "Prates is definitely going to need a cigarette after that one." Had Garry on the ropes late and didn't push hard enough. Brunson kept it humorous, but again highlighted just how close Prates was to pulling off a huge upset. MMA journalist extraordinaire Ariel Helwani kept it straightforward, reporting, "Ian Machado Garry says he'll be in Montreal as the backup for Belal vs. JDM." Helwani, as always, making sure fans stay informed. On the flip side, Dylan Dennis, never one to shy away from controversy, had a very Dylan take, saying Ian Garry would be the perfect warm-up fight for me. Let me put an end to his boring circling, getting out-grappled by a Muay Thai fighter. Easy submission in the first round for me. Typical Dennis, talking big, keeping his name in the conversation. Fan reaction was heated too. Fonorgi Keeley shared his frustration, posting, "Carlos Prates lost this fight because of his laziness. Why on earth didn't he finish Ian Machado Garry? I mean, why? Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Garry from his Cage Warriors days. Definitely a lot of emotion in that one." Prates fans were left wondering what could have been. Popular MMA commentator The MMA Guru posted, "Being a boring fighter who avoids combat at all costs is the new best base for MMA." Garry wins a decision against Prates, crumbles like a cookie in round 5, and barely survives. Prates needed a few more ground-and-pound shots for the finish. Guru, as always, never shy about his opinions. Whether you agree with him or not, Daimu kept it short and relatable. Carlos Prates had me myself for a minute. And honestly, same, here. Everyone's hearts were in their mouths during those final seconds. Light heavyweight Corey Anderson made an interesting point, saying, "Fifth round and Prates is still pushing forward. Imagine how much stronger he'd be if he didn't smoke." Either way, hats off to him. Respect where it's due. Prates showed incredible heart despite the loss. Flyweight contender Casey O'Neill added her analysis. If Carlos had unloaded just then, he would have gotten the stoppage. Frustrating to see, but great fight IQ from Gary. Moving on to our second big story of the day, Colby Covington training FBI agents. Yes, you heard that right. The man known as Chaos has found himself an interesting side gig outside the octagon. Covington's loyalty to Donald Trump has been well documented over the years, and it looks like that connection is paying off once again. Currently riding a 2-fight skid and sitting at 37 years old, Colby seems to be exploring career options beyond fighting. One opportunity that's emerged is assisting with a Trump administration initiative to incorporate UFC-level MMA training into FBI and Secret Service preparation. His first step? Running a demonstration session with none other than Lara Trump, the wife of Eric Trump, in a featured segment for Fox News. In the video posted to Colby's socials, you can see him teaching Lara some basic MMA techniques. Colby kicked off the session by saying, "Hey, what's up guys? Today we're doing some training with Lara Trump. I'm going to show her some techniques that her father-in-law Donald Trump wants the Secret Service to be certified in from the MMA world. Techniques that could help protect the first family in case of any danger or threats." Lara, clearly excited, asked, "You're going to show me some moves that maybe the FBI is going to be utilizing as well?" Colby responded enthusiastically, "The biggest thing I would teach the FBI is an arm drag, because you can use it in so many situations. If you're in a crowded area and there's a threat, you want to control them. You go left hand to right wrist, let go of the left, come around here." Lara tried it herself, laughing and saying, "Oh, I got you." Colby continued the demo. "Then sometimes you'll want to control the wrist. If you control the wrist, they can't grab a weapon or do anything." Lara eagerly asked to practice again, with Colby patiently walking her through the move. It was a fun and light-hearted segment, but it also highlighted how Colby's image outside of the octagon is evolving. Whether you love him or hate him, Covington continues to stay relevant both inside and outside of the fight game. That wraps up today's breakdown. What did you think of Ian Gary's performance last night? Do you agree with the community reactions? And what's your take on Colby Covington possibly becoming a martial arts instructor for the FBI? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And now moving on to another exciting news story. Michael Bisping has reacted to Israel Adesanya training with none other than David Goggins, and he's giving a very honest take on the situation. For those who don't know, Adesanya is currently going through the toughest stretch of his MMA career, suffering a 3-fight losing streak. Many fans and analysts are questioning what's next for the former middleweight king. Paul Felder recently weighed in on the surprising collaboration between Israel Adesanya and David Goggins. And interestingly enough, both he and Michael Bisping agreed that teaming up with Goggins might be exactly what Adesanya needs to get back on track. Bisping believes that at this point, it's not a question of skills or technique for Izzy. It's all about mindset and mental toughness. And when it comes to mental resilience, there's arguably no better coach than David Goggins. Bisping put it simply, maybe David Goggins is precisely what he needs. Bisping continued, explaining that Adesanya doesn't need to relearn how to fight. He's already one of the most technically sound strikers the UFC has ever seen. The real challenge is internal, digging deep, staying motivated, and reigniting that fire. After multiple tough losses, it's often not the body but the mind that needs rebuilding. And that's exactly where Goggins comes in. Known worldwide for his insane discipline, mental toughness, and relentless drive to push beyond limits, Goggins could be the perfect person to help Izzy break through that mental barrier. Paul Felder echoed a similar sentiment, saying, "Depending on what you're using it for, this could be a great thing for him. If it's just to get your ass back in gear, get you motivated and push yourself to another level that you're not quite reaching through everyday gym training, then Goggins could be perfect." Exactly. Sometimes it's not about refining your jab or your takedown defense. It's about reigniting your will to fight. Adesanya teaming up with Goggins shows that he's willing to step outside the traditional methods and do whatever it takes to get his mind right. Bisping continued to emphasize the importance of mentality, saying, "All he needs to do is tap into that mentality, that psyche, that motivation, and David Goggins is perfect for that." Bisping also touched on a bigger question that's been floating around the MMA community. Does Adesanya even need to fight again? Financially, Izzy is set for life. Legacy-wise, he's already one of the greatest middleweights of all time. But as Bisping pointed out, it's not about need, it's about desire. Does he need to fight again? No. But does he want to end his career on a few wins? Probably. Does he want to become champion again? There's a very, very good chance he's thinking, "No, I want to be the champion again." Even though they come from completely different weight classes and have very different fighting styles, a surprising rivalry had been brewing between Israel Adesanya and Henry Cejudo for quite some time. It all started when Triple C, the Olympic, gold medalist and former two-division UFC champion, criticized Adesanya, suggesting that Izzy was more hype than substance and hadn't fully lived up to the lofty expectations around him. Naturally, Adesanya didn't take that lightly, firing back and famously calling Cejudo a little king, a playful but cutting insult that only added more fuel to the fire. Over the years, the tension kept simmering. The two would occasionally take shots at each other through interviews, social media, and podcasts. Fans on both sides ate it up, but beneath the banter, it was clear there was real animosity between them. However, everything changed recently when they finally came face-to-face on the Pound for Pound podcast, hosted by their mutual friend Kamaru Usman. During the conversation, Henry Cejudo took the opportunity to clear the air and apologize. In a moment of genuine humility, Cejudo said, "I want to say thanks, man. I hated on you like you wouldn't believe. I know. But haters are your biggest fans, dude. And you've been able to do what you've done without being a wrestler. To me, that's impressive. I can wrestle, right?" Izzy smiled and quickly responded, "Of course." You could already feel the tension melting away. There was a real sense of mutual respect beginning to form. Cejudo went on to explain why he had criticized Adesanya in the past. Coming from a wrestling background, he pointed out that roughly 85% of UFC champions have a wrestling base. So, for Adesanya to become so dominant without one made his rise even more remarkable. "What you've been able to do? Congratulations, dude," Cejudo added. "And I don't know if it's too late to say, I'm sorry." Adesanya's response was pure class. Without hesitation, he put any lingering tension to rest. "No, no, no, brother. For me, I only got salty because I was like, man, we were cool in Australia, why did you start hating on me? Maybe I was a little salty. But for me, I respect you, because of